And just recognizing that seeing this phenomenon of increased consumerism and materialism is a result of having this erroneous relationship to the whole as though that's the only function we serve. And increasing my well being at the expense or at least separate from the well being of others. And so, as you get people to recognize, which does speak for itself, this interconnectiveness, I am because we are Ubuntu, that we are being interinformed by everyone else, and that at least in principle, irregardless of the spiritual side of things, irregardless of that, in principle, we are kind of a macroorganism, acting as though we're not. It's like an ant colony where the ants are, making up their little one-stop shops to like sell shit to the other ants, and they're not realizing, oh, I'm literally another ant in this ant colony. I'm operating as though I'm not and benefiting myself at the expense of the other ants. It's fucking stupid. And so I think all of this consumerism, they're just prioritizing the wrong things. Everyone has a relative subjective definition to themselves of what constitutes a win or a loss, what is worthwhile, what's inexorable, what's intolerable. These words don't have absolute meaning, really. It's tailored to the individual based off of the mental models they're developing as a result of their stewardship and their upbringing. And so since we play a role in that, there's no scenario where we don't. We can play a dutiful, responsible job of that and steward in other people a sense of, you know what? Let's shift our definitions of these wins and losses and what's worthwhile or intolerable. Because the only wins that actually mean anything that will lead to any fulfillment or any light at the end of that rainbow is actually, trying to foster good qualitative sense making and well being in your community. As you do that, guess what? Just like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, he actually ends up a lot happier. If you're just being a cancer cell trying to maximize everything and buy a bunch of stuff, are we under any illusions that leads to any actual fulfillment or happiness? Of course it doesn't. And again, it's getting to show that to people. It's no mystery why they're following that. Again, education's failing them. A lot's failing them from a lot of different degrees. And so, however this resolves in a positive direction, it means people with better sense making on that distribution need to step up to the plate. They basically need to serve the role of a white blood cell. And as long as they are like, ooh, far be it from me to produce the supposed, da da da, well, then guess what? That means that's basically, for evil to win, good does nothing. And so the white blood cells are like, oh man, let the cancer cells do what they want. No, you need to take a bite of their own medicine and realize literally what they're doing is to some extent influenced by what I do or don't do, the consequence of action or inaction. And so again, there's no holy grail without risk. There absolutely is risk, but there are absolutely conceivable ways of torquing down risk and torquing up sense making, and that's the best you can do, and then you go. So that's what I want to scream at people from the tops of the temple here is that Bertrand Russell's quote of the whole problem is that fools and fanatics rush in while the wisest among us are so full of doubt. As long as that remains true, then we're fucked. But guess what? Is that a hard, fast rule? No. You can see people that are wiser by comparison or actually taking a proactive influence on other people's sense making. Tristan Harris, maybe even Daniel Schmachterberger by comparison. And so the more people that have better sense making can start to recognize that they have a vested interest in this game and they're not some passive tourist observer, they can start to play a positive role and start to steward the sense making therein. So